On the CBS Evening News.
We are following breaking news at this hour. 10 people were shot at a grocery store in Arkansas. 2 people are dead. The attack happened outside a local supermarket in Fordyce. That's about 70 miles south of Little Rock. A police officer was injured but is expected to recover. We're getting video into the newsroom from the scene. We want to warn you first. You may find it disturbing.
We are live here at Mad Butcher in Fordyce, and there's a shooting going on. There's somebody lying in the parking lot, shot.
Disturbing, terrifying, call it what you want. It is an absolute nightmare, one that Casey Rodriguez lived. He was at the scene of the shooting and recorded that video. I'm sorry, is it David or is it Casey?
It's David.
It's David. I'm sorry. I misread your name. I apologize so much, and I apologize for you having to go through that. What can you tell us about what you heard, what you saw? We're so happy to see that you're safe.
Thank you. It was pretty wild this morning. I just pulled into the station next to our local grocery store to get some gas, and we heard some popping going off. And at first we thought maybe it was the fireworks stand, and then we heard the sirens coming and the police pulling up, and people started running all over the place. And I'd noticed one of the victims on the ground, and it was just pretty wild.
I'm so sorry. Again, I don't think words can express what it's probably like to go through something like this. This is an absolute nightmare, as I mentioned. State police telling us 9 people were shot, 2 fatally. That officer also shot, making it 10 with non-life-threatening injuries. Police saying right now a shooter has been critically injured and taken into custody after being shot by law enforcement. But David, what can you tell us about this area? Is it an area you frequent? What can you tell us about the Mad Butcher?
It's like I say, it's our local grocery store, the only one we have in town other than a small Fordyce Walmart. I come from a small town just outside of it, and we have to go there to do our shopping. And, you know, we don't normally hear about things like this going on in our local community. So it was quite a scare.
What compelled you to start recording?
The fact that when the people started running, I just pulled out my phone and tried to get what I could to see what was going on.
What was going through your mind? Was there any point where you thought you should take cover?
Yeah, actually, the ambulance had pulled up beside us, and once the people started running and I realized it was an active shooting situation, at the end of my video I was ducking down in my car because there was hundreds of shots going off at one time.
When you hear just how many people were shot, 2 of them fatally, those are the numbers we currently have from state police, what goes through your mind?
It's just tragic. It's a tragic thing to see what's going on in the world today, you know, and these incidences like this.
What do you want people to know from seeing your video, and what do you want people to know about your community?
Oh, we have a good community. I just want people to stay safe and look out for each other.
David Rodriguez, again, we're so happy that you're safe, and we're so sorry that you had to witness what you did today, but thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I want to bring in now Ken Vanderswam, who is near the grocery store during the shooting. He joins us now. Ken, you just listened to our other interview. I'll ask you the same First question to you. Where were you? What did you hear when all this was unfolding?
Okay, I work at the Spartan Intimidator there at Fordyce, which is right on the corner, about 3 buildings down from the Mad Butcher. And I was working outside, and we have a dumpster behind us, and I thought somebody was throwing stuff into the dumpster. So I was listening, and all of a sudden it just broke loose. It's like you see on TV: pow, 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 shotguns and small arms fire. And that's when I figured out that it was actually an active shooter somewhere, uh, which was close because the shots were real close. And after that, we secured the building inside, and we had a lot of people that ran into the store crying and screaming. So we gave them refuge in there. I'm a former police officer, so I was armed. And I let these people know that that they would be safe inside the building with us. And we had a lot of kids that was really traumatized. So what we did was we got into the manager's vehicle and took some of them to some of their family further out of town, and then we come back and we secured the building. Everything was good. The police continued to come in, the ambulances, helicopters, what have you. And anyway, the manager made a decision, since the road was pretty much blocked off, that we could go ahead and close the store. But yeah, I'm kind of shaken up. It was something like you'd see on TV. It was definitely shots fired continuously. And like I said, I could tell it was shotguns and small arms fire. But that's about all I saw and all I heard.
Do you agree with David that it was hundreds of shots?
Hundreds of shots.
I believe it could probably be close to 100 shots. Yes.
Ken, I feel like we're having the privilege of speaking with a real hero. You gave people refuge. You promised protection in such harrowing circumstances. You said there were kids who ran in. What can you tell us about who ran in, what they were saying to you, what they were doing?
They were actually in the area of the shooting. So some of them said, well, they locked their purse in the car in the Mad Butcher parking lot and what have you. And we had an older lady that she was traumatized big time. And I was trying to calm them down with the assurance that they were safe with us. And but anyway, we got them carried to some of their family, and then we brought some of them back with us and left them in the building with us until their family or whoever come pick them up from the building there. And then after that, we left.
You mentioned, Ken, that you heard a couple of different kinds of firing. Can you explain again what you were hearing and what, in your law enforcement background, that would lead you to believe in terms of, do you think it was a shooter and then you heard some law enforcement fire, or what do you think it was you were hearing?
I can't really tell you, but I will tell you it was shotgun and small arm fire. It was just one right after the other. It was nonstop. It's actually like you'd see on TV in an active shooter situation where he's loaded down or whoever. That was interesting. As being in law enforcement, I've seen a lot of things, but this was kind of an experience for me. To be able to hear the actual arms going off, but it did sound like fireworks. It was something.
And I'll ask you a question that I asked David as well. You told us that you work at Spartan Intimidator. From what I can gather from a quick search, it's a dealership selling tractors, lawnmowers, and the like. What can you tell us about this area and this community?
We're at an intersection. It's a busy intersection. When everything was going down, the police blocked off the road towards the Mad Butcher, and there was a lot of ambulances, state police, city police. I've seen game wardens. I saw highway police. I saw pretty much all law enforcement that was available coming there. Now, I live in Warren, and I was even on my way home after we closed, and I met 6 or 7 more ambulances heading that way. And this was a good couple hours after everything happened. But anyway, I didn't I got a worker that works with me, and his mother works at the rent-a-center right there in the Mad Butcher parking lot, and she saw a lot of stuff. Anyway, I don't what she saw. I don't think was very good to see, but anyway, yeah, it was something.
What are your thoughts, Ken, for your community?
Yeah, man, I hate it. I'm glad I was able to be there to comfort those children. You know, that's something they got to live with all their life because apparently they were right there and they were screaming and just crying. But anyway, I really feel for them, and even the adults. I mean, it was affecting them. But anyway, we gave them refuge and we got them home safe.
Yeah, how could it not affect them? Ken, we're so grateful to you that you're safe. And yeah, anything else you want to say, Ken?
Pardon?
Say it again.
Anything else you want to say?
I just wanted to say I wish everybody would pray for those children and those ones that had to experience that awful event because that's something that they're going to have to live with the rest of their life. And I hate it because I've seen it and I don't know. That's about all I can say.
Ken Vanderswam, we're so grateful that you're safe, that you were there to provide refuge when needed, that other people could count on you. And I'm so sorry that you had to witness and hear what you had to as well. But thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The governor of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, released a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. The statement says, quote, "I have been briefed on the tragic shooting in Fordyce, and I'm in constant contact with state police at the scene. I am thankful to law enforcement and first responders for their quick and heroic action to save lives. My prayers are with the victims and all those impacted by this horrific incident." Again, just to recap, Arkansas State Police saying that they have responded to a shooting in Fordyce. This is south of Little Rock, about an hour south. They say at about 11:30 a.m. local time today, which would be about 12:30 Eastern, Arkansas State Police responded. These are live pictures right now from near the scene. This took place at the Mad Butcher grocery store in Fordyce. State police tell us that a total of 9 civilians were shot, 2 fatally. 1 law enforcement officer was shot and has non-life-threatening injuries. The shooter was critically injured after being shot by law enforcement and has been taken into custody. In this live picture right now, you can see the Mad Butcher on the left-hand side of your screen. This is what we just heard from David is the main grocery store in this area. He lives in a small town nearby, and this is where he travels to get his groceries, next to the Dollar General. And you can see there law enforcement presence. I don't see much more, but I see caution tape, everything being cordoned off. And we just spoke with a couple of witnesses who say that it sounded, as cliche as it sounds, like fireworks, like popping. At least 100 rounds potentially is what Ken and David both just told us on our air. And we will continue to monitor this tragic event and bring you updates as we get them. The judge overseeing former President Donald Trump's classified documents case is